This is episode 151 of Hebrews in Exile with our honorable teacher, Robert B. Holman Jr. and Sean Appleton. Now, I'm going to make a public service announcement real quick. You're going to hear us use the term rabbi and junior rabbi in this podcast. Now, this was pre-recorded before we actually made the switch to using a better vernacular, which is more. The term rabbi actually points to the religion of Judaism, which we are not a part of. But with that being said, just so we make that clarification, in this podcast, we're going to talk about some of the core foundational mitzvots that we can do while we are in exile. So sit back and relax. Hebrews in exile. You know what we do. Let's go. Give me more passion.
Rabbi Robert B. Holman Jr. and
the junior Rabbi Sean Appleton, and this is Hebrews in Exile.
The life and the way of a Hebrew person is ordered by the Most High.
Sure. Without a doubt.
The lifestyle is given to us in a way that the Most High allows us to understand. And the mitzvots are really quite simple.
They are.
There's nothing difficult within them that cause us pause to have to do any kind of really deep research, because they are instructions that speak pretty much for themselves.
That's correct. Go ahead. Because what makes them difficult is the fact that when you come to understand that this is what the Most High, if you love me, then you will fulfill these ones. And it gets placed at your doorstep, and then you have to make a lifestyle change in order to acquiesce to what the Most High says. That's where the difficult part comes in, because now you're saying, okay, do I love the Most High enough to where I'm willing to change?
Well, furthermore, we have the Proverbs that defines for us the attitude of an individual who and what they're really for.
Sure.
So as we talk about them once again in this podcast, let's go to Proverbs chapter number 1.
Right at the beginning, okay.
Yeah, because the meat of Proverbs, the whole understanding of what's written in the book of Proverbs is germane to the opening.
Okay.
Proverbs of Shlomo, the son of David, the king of Israel, are for learning about wisdom and discipline. They're about learning wisdom and discipline. So now, when we think about the mitzvots are not just a bunch of jibber jabber. They are wisdom.
Absolutely.
And they provide understanding, words expressing deep insight for gaining an intelligently disciplined life, doing what is right, just, and fair, for endowing with caution those who don't think. Now, the crux of the matter is that it's easy to talk about something that you're already acquiescing to. But for people who don't understand the nature of Torah or the mitzvots of the Most High, and don't understand the book of Proverbs, because you cannot read Proverbs without understanding mitzvots.
This is very true. Very true. Foundational piece. Yeah.
almost every line in Proverbs is filled with a mitzvot.
Very good.
Or what's being said is being said on the foundation of a mitzvot.
Right.
So he says, for gaining intelligently disciplined life, doing what is right, just and fair, for endowing with caution those who don't think, and the young person with knowledge and discretion. Someone who is already wise will hear and learn still more. Someone already who understands will gain the ability to counsel well. He will understand proverbs, obscure expressions, the sayings, and the riddles of the wise. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. So
Great opener.
So he jumps out of the box talking about a fool. And a lot of people don't know what a fool is in the eyes of the Most High. A fool in the eyes of the Most High is an individual who knows the discipline of Torah and a construct life according to Torah, but refuses to walk in that light.
True.
The Most High calls him a fool.
That's right.
But it even gets deeper than that. Because the word a fool is a light word when you bring it together with the other analogy that the Most High deals with when he talks about a person who is wicked. Because when the Most High talks about a person that is wicked, as he has done many times in the prophets in relationship to Israel, the wickedness was germane to their failure to follow and walk in the ways of the Most High that they knew they were supposed to do and refused to do it. He called those individuals wicked.
Yeah.
So you have two adjectives that describe a person who has been exposed to the Torah, the mitzvots, and the understandings of the Most High. You have one that is a fool, and then you have one that is wicked. Now, the fool has a greater chance of teshuvah than an individual who is wicked. What's wrong with the fool? The problem with the fool is that Torah and the instructions of the Most High get in the way of their way of life.
That's true.
As it was when we first decided to change and become Hebraic, the people just told me that Torah gets in the way of my lifestyle, and keeping the Sabbath. I'm not going to do that. My friends don't do that. I'm not going to do that. I go shopping on the Shabbat on Saturday. We cut the grass on Saturday. We wash the car on Saturday. We do things on Saturday that going and changing our lifestyle to meet this Sabbath thing, we're not going to do. What are you telling me? You're telling me that the things that the Most High has made for us as a delight gets in your way.
Right. Something that should give you joy.
Now, that person, I can't call them a fool, and I can't call them wicked. And the reason why I can't call them a fool and I can't call them wicked, because they have zero understanding. They have no knowledge or understanding of what Torah is. They have no knowledge and no understanding of what it means to be subservient to the Most High in the things that He has said. I can't call them a fool because while it gets in their way, yeah, but they don't really know what's getting in their way other than the fact, first of all, I'm not giving up my Sabbaths, my Saturdays. That's the main. I'm not giving up my Saturdays.
Okay.
That's the main thing.
All right.
But they have no understanding of what the Sabbath really is. They didn't stick around long enough to even find out what the Sabbath was and what it meant to the Most High. You were there.
Yeah, I was.
They left in a hurry.
And they did. But I got to double back on what you said earlier, which is these mitzvots are very easy to understand. What more do you need to understand other than this is a set apart day for the Most High? You need not to do any work. What a part about that is hard.
All of my family and all of my friends go to church on Sunday.
Okay.
My lifestyle is geared to Sunday, not Saturday. There are things that I do on Saturday that I'm not willing to give up.
Which goes back to my point earlier, which is there is nothing difficult about that. What the difficulty comes in is when your explanation that you just gave there, which is you understand because you cognitively said, you know what? I know what this day is about. I know what's in the mitzvot and I know what the Most High has asked. But I'm making a cognitive decision. I'm making a decision not to observe it. There's nothing difficult about that, about observing the mitzvot. But what it is it's saying I've made a lifestyle change that I'm not willing to change for the Most High. There's no other explanation that you need to have other than that.
And I to play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
I don't even believe it's about that.
Okay. Okay. What is it then?
And the reason I say I don't believe it's about that, Sean, is because they're making a decision based on an assumption that they know the Most High. When in fact, there is absolutely, unequivocally no way to know, understand, and have fear in your heart for the Most High outside of knowing His Torah. So, let's put it this way.
Okay.
I don't have to fear the big bad wolf.
Okay.
If I've never met him.
Okay. I can acquiesce to that.
And see, to say that I know the Most High, but you haven't formulated a true relationship with Him, is like me saying, I know LeBron James and I've never met him. And in that same a narrative, to talk about LeBron James as though we were buddies and friends. And I've never, ever been in his presence. I've never been in his house. I've never sat down and had a meal with him. I've never sat across the table from him. But yet I talk about him like I know him. That's the way people talk about the Most High. They talk about him as if they know him, and they don't. So they can make a decision in their mind to not do something because they don't have a fear of him. And the reason they don't have a fear of him is because they don't know him.
Okay. So really that's a good explanation to say that for the folks that stuck, we had a genuine fear.
Yeah.
And wanted truth, wisdom, and understanding about the Most High, and say, I'm willing to change my life in order to have a relationship with the Most High. But then we come along the way, and as we get to know this LeBron James scenario, we figure out, I don't know if I like this all that much. So you get these folks that start falling off by the wayside, and you start seeing in their behavior, like, I'm really wasn't, which is getting back to your point. A lot of lip service, but when it comes to that experiential knowledge and actually exuding some type of behavior that says that, oh, okay, I really am down with the squad, I really am down with what the Most High has in text, you show your true colors.
Well, yeah. Yeah, because here is the difference. The difference resonates with the heart.
Mm-hmm.
If my heart is not down with it, it's okay. It's like this. Let me put it a different way. Okay, it's basketball season. A lot of coaches got fired in the last couple of weeks.
In the last couple of weeks,
yeah, a lot of them got
kicked
fired.
to the curb.
Yeah. Now, you go through a season, and the coach comes in, and he brings his philosophy,
okay,
for the season. The issue that surrounds the philosophy of any team is, does the team buy into it? Because if the team doesn't buy into it, there's not going to be any cohesiveness. There's not going to be any gelling. There's not going to be any nothing but a whole lot of bickering and a whole lot of blah 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 blah.
Okay.
So, this whole idea of understanding the significant importance of what the Most High has given us stems around the fact that He's the coach, and He has given us a philosophy of life to live by that you have to buy into. And if you don't buy into it, okay. And you know what? we spend a lot of time trying to which the prophets never do, trying to make people buy into this. Trying to convince them to buy into this. The prophets don't do that.
Okay. No, they don't. They don't spend a lot of time on it at all. Yeah.
Shalom to Sydney, Australia. We're glad to have you with us this evening.
Sydney, Australia is in the house.
Shalom to you.
Okay.
We're talking about the significant importance of understanding wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which is centered around understanding the mitzvots and the Torah of the Most High. And we're talking from a book that I have written that's out on Amazon that's called Torah for Hebrews in Exile. So when we talk about things that the team doesn't buy into, you have unrest.
That's right.
And when you have unrest, those that don't buy into it leave. Those that do, they stay. And then you take and you build around what remains.
Good. Very good. Very good. No, I can understand
because the thing is, nobody can make a person obey the Most High. The difference between you and I and those that remained was that we had a desire to know truth. And that was what we were seeking. You came from a Baptist background. I come from an apostolic background. We come from two different backgrounds, but primarily with the same principle understanding that the Most High was superior.
Absolutely.
And we wanted to get to know him.
Sure. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
And from 2007 till now, we have gained an invaluable amount of knowledge about the Most High that those that didn't stick around long enough to know that don't know, which causes you and I, which is another reason why we have a problem within certain purviews of our lifestyle, in our living situation, when people don't get with the program.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Our fervor for the Most High and the things that are in text and living a life that is a lifestyle that is more in line with text than anything else.
Yeah, you can't.
It's tantamount for us.
You cannot know Yahweh outside of his instructions, his laws, his rules, and his teachings.
Sure.
It's like living in the house with your parents. You can't live in the house with your parents if you don't live according to their rules, their instructions, and their teachings. There's going to be chaos.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the issue and the thing that's interesting is that even when we look at our text, the GOAT, the writer of this text, the Torah, we understand that there's an underlying issue that's there. Even though Moshe is teaching the mitzvots within those first 5 books, those Torah principles are in there. When you go ahead and you continue to read them, you already have an understanding, a foundation moving forward. Like you said, with reading the Proverbs, with reading the Psalms, you have to have an understanding of the mitzvots first in order to even understand those. Because of the fact of the matter, case in point, I'm going to make it, it's just like you open with Proverbs and you use the analogy, and that's what almost seems like what Proverbs are. They're analogies that are based on the mitzvot.
The mitzvot, right.
To help you get wisdom and understanding so you can apply them to
your everyday life.
Yeah, to a particular situation.
Yeah. They're moral and ethical.
That's right.
And when you read Proverbs, Proverbs is a teaching on morality and ethics.
Exactly. But again, that foundation needs to be there. When I watch a movie in the United States, nobody has to tell me when I see somebody on the freeway and the director cuts to the speedometer and it's going 90 miles an hour. I don't have to have someone tell me that, okay, that's breaking the law. Because I already know that going into it because I live in this particular culture.
Right.
So it's the same deal here with reading this text, is that when text is opened up, when we're talking about King David and Melech Shlomo and all these patriarchs that are there, when you talk about Abraham and you talk about Melchizedek, all these people that were there, there's an undertone of the mitzvot. And that's why you can't understand it, because you don't spend enough time reading them.
Let me say something here. I'm looking at the board, and I want to digress just a minute here. One of the Torah principles that I see on the board here from Australia is that you're telling me that you thank the Most High for guiding you, a righteous stranger, to the royal family. Well, that's a Torah principle. You're being a stranger within the Hebrew family is a Torah principle, and it's written in the book here. I forget now where it is, but the Father teaches us about how to treat the stranger and how to treat the foreigner. And he reminds us, he says, remember, you were a stranger and a foreigner in Mitzrayim. Yeah. Therefore, you are to love the stranger, you are to love the foreigner. For I have given you in Numbers chapter 15 the same law, the same teaching for you as the foreigner living with you. So I welcome you. I welcome you from Sydney, Australia. I'm glad that you found us. When you hear us talk, we will always be talking positively about the stranger and the foreigner. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can I do something real quick?
Sure.
I don't know where I was going to be able to interject this in here, but I do want to say this, is that today is a equally special day. You know why?
New moon?
Today, no, it's not a new moon. It's a Rosh Chodesh today. And the Rosh Chodesh means it's the new month.
New month, I mean.
Our
Right.
new month starts today. So we are in the third month. We begin, and now, matter of fact, let me see that calendar right there. Because I want to do this. If you're viewing here and you haven't seen this, is go to HebraicCalendar.com. This is a work that we've produced out of this house here that goes over all of the Hebraic Moedims that are in text. And if you go to HebraicCalendar.com, you'll actually get an explanation how this calendar was derived. But on today, which happens to be the 15th of the month of May, is the beginning of the third month, which there are mitzvots that tell us that today is a Shabbat. Today we're supposed to rest. We're supposed to honor this day as a Shabbat, as it is the beginning of our new month. And as we move towards or observe this particular day, we also want to make mention, and I want to do this for those of you that are watching by way of the stream. I don't know we've done it before, is that on the 25th of this month is going to be Shavuot, which happens to be on a Shabbat. So keep that in the forefront of your mind. It is a mitzvot. We have to observe it. And it's going to be awesome. But I wanted to make sure that I did that so we acknowledge the fact that we are in a Rosh Chodesh. This is a set apart day. And I'm happy to be here with you talking about the mitzvot of the Most High, which is what we're ordained to do.
Right. Once again, I see these comments on the board. I want you to know something. I see your comment about serving the stranger who serves the Most High alone. You're not alone. When you join with the family of Hebrew Israel, then you are part of the Hebrew family. And you're not alone, even though you're in Sydney, Australia. We're here in Sacramento, California, and we have a lot of content out there on the YouTube channel, Yahweh's Exiled Empire. We have a lot of information there and teachings there that you can follow. And you can also join us on our Shabbat services. I don't know what the time frame is there in Australia, but we start streaming here at 11:30 Pacific Standard Time. And you're certainly welcome to join our congregation by line. One thing I don't want anybody who wants to understand and walk with the Most High and the Most High's people, I don't want the stranger to feel like you're alone, because you're not. You're in the company of people who love what the Most High has created.
Yes.
So, welcome, brother, wherever you are. All right.
Why does Perth come to mind?
Bereshit chapter number 17. The commandment to circumcise. El said to Abraham, "As for you, you are to keep my covenant, you and your descendants after you, generation after generation. Here is my covenant which you are to keep between me and you, along with your descendants after you. Every male among you is to be circumcised. You are to be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin. This will be a sign of the covenant between me and you, generation after generation. Every male among you who is 8 days old is to be circumcised, including slaves." There's the foreigner. "Born within your household, and those bought from a foreigner, not descended from you. The slave born in your house and the person bought with your money must be circumcised. Thus my covenant will be in your flesh as an everlasting covenant. Any uncircumcised male who will not let himself be circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person will be cut off from his people because he has broken my covenant. Now, that particular text there defines something that is germane throughout all of our generations of time, wherever we are. But I want to go to 1 Corinthians, I think, chapter 7, I believe it is.
You're going to go over there, huh?
I got to go over there because there's some junk over here that where is it? Maybe it isn't in 1 Corinthians. Maybe it's in 2 Corinthians.
Maybe it's in Hebrews 7. Anyway.
I want to go to, maybe it's in 2 Corinthians chapter 7. Let's go there for a minute. Let's
All
see
right.
here. Oh, come on. I know I highlighted it. In Corinthians.
Which one? First, second? Second?
I'm trying to find it.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was in 7.
What are we looking for?
I'm looking for Shaul's dissertation on circumcision.
Oh. Here.
Maybe it is in first. Because, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's mentioned in that particular text. I thought I highlighted it in my text.
Oh, I bet you I know who's going to get it before the both of us.
Anyway, Shaul is teaching on the subject of circumcision. And his whole dissertation...
Is it in Galatians?
No, it's not in Galatians. It's in 1 Corinthians.
Okay.
He talks about the fact that an individual should come as he was. Maybe it's here. In chapter, let's see here. Oh, let's see here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
You found it?
No, I'm looking at all of this stuff.
You should probably just go ahead and start at the top then.
For although I'm in chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
19.
19 of 2 Corinthians.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to do that. Oh, to me, all right.
For although I am a free man, not bound to do anyone's bidding, I have made myself a slave to all in order to win as many people as possible. That is, with Jews, what I did was put myself in the position of a Jew in order to win Jews. With people subjected to the legalistic perversion of the Torah, now, people in subjection to the legalistic perversion of the Torah, I put myself in a position of someone under such legalism in order to win those under this legalism, even though I myself am not subject to the legalistic perversion of the Torah. So the only people that he could be talking about here are the Pharisees and the Sadducees. More likely the Sadducees, because the Pharisees were very strict Torah people, and the perversion of Torah came about by those Jews who had made the fence around Torah and made Torah legalistic. So he's still talking about Jews.
No, you're 2 Corinthians chapter
9, verse 19. With those who live outside the framework of Torah, I put myself in position as someone outside the Torah in order to win those outside Torah, although I myself am not outside the framework of Torah, but within the framework of Torah as upheld by
Come on. It's right there on the tip of your tongue. You can say it.
The Messiah never upheld the Torah. Okay.
Uh-oh.
As one who upheld the Torah. So now we're reading some additional commentary by the framers of this work that are outside the framework of Torah. Oh, let me see. Let me get out of this. Where is it? Anyway,
1 Corinthians. Let's go 7. 1 Corinthians 7, 18 and 19. Let's go there.
That's what I thought.
1 Corinthians 7, 18 and 19.
That's where I thought it was.
Okay, let's do that. So 18. Why is my stuff still staying Galatians?
Yeah, I thought I'd highlighted this so I could find it. I didn't. Only teach a person. Only let each person live the life the Lord has assigned to him, and live it in the condition he was in when God called him. Now I got to explain something to you, okay? Oh my goodness!
This is just
in scriptorial transliteration, okay? Scripture. Now, when you talk about scripture, we're talking about everything from Genesis or Bereshit to 2 Chronicles. In scripture, in the Masoretic text, there is no reference to anybody that's called Lord or anybody that's called God. In the Masoretic text, where you see the word, where you would see, there's no word in there for God. When it comes to the Most High, you're going to see Yod He Vav He, Yahweh. When you see Lord, you're going to see something that speaks to Yahweh of hosts. But this idea of covering up the name of the Most High so you never would know it. So this whole conversation here is messed up with the language. Was someone already circumcised when he was called, then he should not try to remove the marks of circumcision. Now, I did a study on that particular item there from Galatians, and the idea is there is no physical way. Think about this. If you've been circumcised, there's no physical way you can remove the marks of circumcision.
Exactly.
That's an ignorant statement.
Yeah, you can't remove the marks of circumcision.
If that which has been removed that had no purpose has been removed, you can't put it back.
See, you're going to get to your thunder here down in 19. I'm waiting for this. Oh, come on.
Okay.
Because it's coming.
Was someone uncircumcised when he was called? Then he shouldn't undergo Brit Milah. Okay? When he was called to what? You see, there's a problem. There's a mitzvot in here.
Mm-hmm.
And the mitzvot pertains to Pesach. And
that's
the mitzvot that is germane to Pesach says that a male who has not been circumcised in his flesh cannot participate in Pesach.
Now, there's the proof of our ancestors of that, because our ancestor Yahashua, before they entered the land, had to have all those males that were out in the desert circumcised before they got in there.
Yes, they did. So Corinthians here is, the writing here is atrociously terrible.
But wait, there's more.
Now he says, being circumcised means nothing, and being uncircumcised means nothing. What does mean something is keeping.
That is what we call, you don't even have to finish that.
is keeping Yahweh's commandments.
That is an oxymoron right there.
Each person should remain in the condition he was when he was called. Now, that you can see how you cannot depend on what the Greek text says, because every time we read it in light of a mitzvot, it's diabolically wrong.
Yeah, and
now I just read to you, the Most High says that circumcision is to be carried out generation after generation. Every male among you who is 8 days old is to be circumcised.
Yep.
The slave born, the house, and the person bought. All of this information in Genesis chapter 17, verses 9 through 13 apply to the idea of circumcision. So how can you now come around here in Corinthians and say it doesn't mean anything?
Exactly.
Now, what it means is, he says, as for you, you are to keep my covenant. Mm-hmm. So circumcision is a covenant that the Most High has made between him and the male man.
What other mitzvot is, go along, that's germane to that? Because there's a mitzvot that, I'm taking away my own thunder.
Well, come on. You don't have no thunder.
Okay, so
you just got words.
You got words. In order for you to gain that piece of real estate, you're going to have that circumcision done. There's a mitzvot that's between, okay, so I should say a mitzvot, there's a covenant that's made between Avraham, our ancestor, saying that the land that you are going to inherit is from here to here. And those going in, this is the covenant that I'm making between you and I.
Yeah.
For this particular land that you have.
Yeah.
In order for you to inherit that, circumcision is involved in that whole entire covenant. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, I have a question to ask.
Sure.
Because
you got to be Hebrew Israel for that.
Okay, I have a question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Since we are not in the land, and since the majority of humanity that resides on the face of the earth right now,
I was getting ready to ask you the same thing. Okay.
Would you not suppose that circumcision will take place in the Messianic era?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's a question for you. I come into the understanding of the mitzvots of the Most High. I'm pretty sure you had this question brought to you before. I come into the understanding of the mitzvots of the Most High, and it says that your men are supposed to be circumcised.
Yep.
You come into the understanding of the Most High, and you are not circumcised.
Yep.
As an older man.
Yep.
What do you tell him?
Go find somebody who'll do it. If you want to participate in Passover, then that's what you have to do. Because otherwise, if I let you participate in Pesach and you're uncircumcised, I am guilty.
That is a stupendous answer. Excellent, because it follows the mitzvah.
I'm guilty.
Follows the mitzvah.
And not only am I guilty, but I cause you also to break faith with the Most High.
Yeah, exactly. So when Paul gets over here and starts floundering around saying that it doesn't matter, it almost, and I'm going to go off on a rabbit trail real quick. It almost gets into this agendized item that we've always talked about with Christianity, where its agenda is to eliminate the chosen people of the Most High and make it general for everybody. The Most High never has, and you've eloquently put in your teachings and in these podcasts that the nations are nothing but a drop in the bucket to the Most High. There is a group of people that is set apart that the Most High has placed as a treasure for himself. So therefore, these are mitzvot for these individuals. Okay?
Okay, so what he says here, what he's saying here, I have a nation of people And that nation of people is defined by the mark that I have placed in their flesh.
Correct. It marks a covenant between me and them.
It's a permanent symbol on the bodies of Hebrew nation of Israel to show that he set them apart from other nations. The chosen people are perfected through the obligations of Torah. Therefore, the Most High left man the Torah to accomplish the completedness of his body form to man. This was so that it would be within man's ability and duty to also protect the form of his soul by refining deeds. Removing the foreskin around the penis needed to be accomplished as a permanent symbol. So if it's a permanent symbol, we go back to Corinthians, and Shaul's talking about removing it. You can't remove a permanent symbol.
True.
This procedure is to be done on the 8th day of birth for any male. It applies
Mitzvot.
everywhere we live in the land. It is the father's responsibility to have his sons circumcised and not the mother. As we've seen with Zipporah and Moshe.
Correct.
Zipporah went and got Moshe out of class.
Yes.
He was probably teaching and said, you better come here because you getting ready to go to the dust.
Yeah.
And I'm saving you behind because you haven't taken responsibility of your sons to see that your sons have been circumcised.
Exactly. She saves his life.
And she saved his life with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to say this in there because my dear brother in the back, he's spinning back there because he wants to say this publicly, so I'm going to do it for him. Okay? When you go out into these other religions and you see how abominable they treat that Brit Milah. I'm not going to say no religions, Judaism, that goes ahead and what they do when they do that Brit Milah.
Oh, yeah, well, I've taught that.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
Do your research on how they take that out. There's nothing that they do in there that is a Torah mitzvot.
You know, I had somebody to call me and ask me because they had a child that needed to go Brit Milah, and they wanted to know if I did a Brit Milah service. I said, no, I don't do that. I don't do that.
Yeah. Now, the Ashkenazians do it, but it's the procedure on how they do it.
The procedure on how they do it is not,
It's not in text.
It's not in text. All right, so now we understand that this idea of circumcision is a necessity. If you're listening to this podcast and you say, well, I've never been circumcised, and you're a grown man, I want you to take into consideration that Father Abraham had a whole entourage of men that were following him when the Most High approached him with this.
That's true. Very true.
And the interesting thing about it now, as opposed to then, if you'd like to have had circumcision Father Abraham's day, it would have been done with a flint knife.
That's right.
At least now they have surgical tools
and Novocaine
and something to anesthetize the pain, you know. But anyway,
I should say Novocaine. Novocaine is what they stick in for your teeth.
Yeah,
what are this boy talking about? I don't put Novocaine nowhere.
Put Novocaine down there.
That's right. Anesthetize. What's there? Yeah. We're going to numb that area up.
Yeah. The next mitzvot that comes up in text is written in Bereshit chapter 32, verse 31. And it says, Yaakov called the place Peniel, face of El, because I have seen El face to face, yet my life is spared. The sun rose upon him, and he went on past Peniel, limping at the hip. This is why to this day the people of Israel do not eat the thigh muscle that passes along the hip socket, because the man struck Israel's hip at its socket. So the issue here, the mitzvot, is meant to be a reminder of Yaakov's suffering at the hands of his brother. But the mitzvot also applies everywhere in Hebrew Israel life throughout all the generations. The sinew of meat is supposed to be removed from the meat. And if we're kosher our own meat, then we would look for this and we would remove it. So now you have this socket, this sinew portion of meat that we have. The Most High says we're not to eat that.
Correct. Agreed. Mitzvots germane to exile.
Yes.
Things that we can observe while we're outside of the land.
The next land mitzvot that we talk about, germane to the land, is the prohibition to strike one's parents.
Hey.
Now, one of the problems that we have in this generation is a total disrespect that children have for their parents. Even amongst us melanated people, we have taken on Dr. whatever his name is, philosophy of training our children, and we have allowed our children to be disrespectful to us. But Shemot, Exodus 21 says, whoever attacks his father or mother must be put to death. Whoever curses his father or mother must be put to death. Now, to enforce the necessary justice for the proper functioning of a civilized society, the hitting of one's parents undermines the very structure of the home, which is supposed to be the primary building block of society. Therefore, it is a moral issue. Now, we do not have the ability in this exile to put anyone to death for such things.
True.
But we do have the right to bring very stiff correction. And the issue with this should be that at the first instance of an act by a child to disrespect his mother or father in this fashion, it should be very, very strictly reprimanded and brought to the fore of that child's mind that is something that you will not tolerate. But if you don't teach the child that, then you're always going to be cowering, and then the child becomes the bully in the house, and you're afraid of him. That's not what the Most High intended.
Right.
If we're in the land, in this instance, your child would die.
That's true. I wanted to make an analogy there to not only a child to the parents, but also this is teaching this, there's a reverence that's there for individuals. You don't want to be, as Hebrew Israel, that same way to the Most High as well.
Well, yeah,
we're disrespectful and so on and so forth.
Right, but there's the mitzvot that says you are to honor your mother and father.
That's right.
And hitting them and cursing them does not show honor, nor does it show respect.
Correct. So if we are able to do it here in an example that's germane and close to us, then that also translates to our relationship with the Most High.
Now we have this thing which is germane to people, and that is people get in a fight.
Yeah, they do.
So Shemot, the Most High has given us a mitzvot to deal with this particular subject.
Okay.
If two people fight and one hits the other with a stone or with his fist, and the injured party doesn't die but is confined to his bed, then if he recovers enough to be able to walk around outside, even with a cane, the attacker will be free of liability, except to compensate him for his loss of time and take responsibility for his care under his recovery until his recovery is complete. This is a matter of justice.
See, what's interesting about that mitzvot to me, if we're talking about it, is the mitzvot doesn't designate who was right or who was wrong in that particular instance, or maybe if I'm looking at it from a different perspective. It really does speak to the issue of giving a person compensation, kind of like if there was an altercation and someone wound up getting injured, you're paying for it, even in this day and age, not to say it's the same thing, but you would be paying for their medical bills in order for them to recover.
Right.
But it doesn't really designate in the mitzvot whether or not who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that when we read the book across the street, which we refer to as a comic book because it has so many untruths in it, and it has a superhero in it.
Yeah.
But and they borrow a lot of information from our text, such as the one in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. Fathers, don't irritate your children and make them resentful. Instead, raise them with Yahweh's kind of discipline and guidance. Well, if I look at Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4, it takes me back to the opening statement we made in Proverbs chapter 1. It's the Proverbs of Shlomo are to provide wisdom to those who are wise and more understanding to those who understand. So if we read through the Proverbs, we're going to find that Shlomo is also going to give us some instructions as to how children and parents are supposed to relate to each other according to the ways of the Most High. And it's going to fit within the construct of the mitzvot.
Okay. Totally agree. Looking over my shoulder here.
Yeah, I mean, there's no mitzvot that talks about a father irritating the children. However, I would say to this context in Ephesians, it certainly is one that's philosophically sound. Because I mean, if I got a child and I'm irritating him and I'm poking the bear all the time, he's going to get irritated. And he's going to get resentful.
Yeah.
But if I raise him according to the teachings of the Most High, and I myself am walking according to the teachings of the Most High, then I will have a peaceful house.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
Getting back to the injured fellow. In most instances in this culture that we live in, if somebody gets in a fight and somebody gets injured and they can't go to work and what have you, it usually winds up in a lawsuit.
Sure.
But the Most High says when that happens, now, and remember something, these mitzvots are germane to who? Hebrew Israel.
That's correct. Correct.
So does that mean I can?
No, see, that's the point I was trying to get at, because within it, so I can go ahead and whip your ass. No. Because,
and don't think I'm going to compensate you because you're not a Hebrew.
It almost speaks to the issue of, again, here, not only is it saying who's right or who's wrong in the instance, but it's almost the issue of excessive force when it's talking about if you hit them and you put them they bedridden for a little bit. What did you do to them to get them so they, in this particular condition? So it's like, you proved your point by, okay, you're down on the ground, but going to this excessive amount of force on somebody, I think it also speaks to that particular issue as well.
Shemot, chapter 22 and verse 18. Now,
I'm going to tell you what, you on to the next one? Because I'm going to tell you what, you would like to think, go ahead, come on. Because I got one for this.
I'd like to think what? It talks about bestiality. Whoever has sexual relationships with an animal must be put to death. This to rid wickedness from the nation. Now, in this exile, once again, we can't put anybody to death.
Sure.
But
Correct.
the idea of this is wickedness. Now, I want to go somewhere that I can't go.
Why?
Because it's going to open a can of worms.
Oh, we're going to be on this topic for the rest of the podcast? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Or we're going to tick some folk off? Because we already did that on YouTube.
It just opens up. It opens up. I shouldn't even said anything.
Yeah, you shouldn't have. Now you need to go ahead and finish it. Because I'm got to go somewhere with this one too.
Well, you go somewhere with it.
Okay. All right. I'm going
to hold my peace.
You going to hold your peace?
You go somewhere with it.
Because you would think, default programming when you come out, with all the stuff that the bestiality and having sexual relations with animals is something that should be abhorrent to everybody. But the more and more, my children had to educate me on this. And I got to watch what I say because this is YouTube. There is this, have you ever heard of this thing called furries?
What?
Furries.
Furries?
Furries. These are individuals, you can see, if you start watching stuff about what's happening in school, there's these individuals called furries. They dress up like animals. They act like animals. There's a particular YouTube I was listening to where a substitute teacher came into a room and she was taking roll call and she's going around the room and she says, "Is Sally here?" "Present." "Joey here?" "Here." "Matt, are you here?" "Meow." She said, "Matt, are you here?" "Meow." She said, "Now, wait a minute. Where's that cat coming from?" And all the kids in the room directed this woman. She said, "No, who you calling Matt, that's who's meowing over there." And she went to say, "Why is he meowing?" "Because he identifies as a cat." So, what? Don't say, we still live. Come on. He done walked off camera and everything. No, she says, "Hey, listen." She says, "Well, she makes some type of off-color comment, and then she gets called to the principal's office later on as she's getting ready to leave. And she says, they say to her, you can't say what you said because that child identifies as a cat. And this whole thing that's going around where these individuals are just, they're dressing like animals, which is ushering in this issue of this bestiality and consorting with animals. You wouldn't think that it's coming to this. But this whole entire issue of identifying this and identifying that.
I would. Okay.
See now.
Okay.
I done stated my piece. Hopefully that was PC for YouTube, but I don't care. Anyway.
I get it.
Stop.
It's not in our text. It's in the text across the street.
Okay. Lay it on me.
So as it was.
Oh, yeah.
In the days of Noah.
Shall it be.
So shall it be.
In the
end of days.
In the days. Yeah. It's a sad commentary. But it only confirms where our society is going, that people can't even, they live in,
Yeah. But for Hebrew Israel, this doesn't take a lot of thought.
No, it doesn't.
To understand that diddling the chickens.
Right.
And diddling the sheep. And having sex with a dog is anything that has anything to do with anything that's moral and ethical.
Ethical, correct. Why is that mitzvot placed there? What is the Most High? Now, I'm going to step out of my soapbox on this one. Why would the Most High give us that mitzvot if it's so obvious? I have my theory about this. I'm getting on my own with this one. I am under the impression that one of the reasons we have that is because we are not to do the things that the nations do.
Right.
All of that incestuous bestiality, things that they do ritually that our ancestors were exposed to.
That's what was going on in Canaan.
Yeah, we don't touch that kind of stuff. And let me reiterate it by giving you a mitzvot that restricts you from that kind of behavior. Not only did I tell you that I don't want you to do anything from the nations, but I'm going to include some of the stuff that they do so you don't even think about doing them. If you had an inkling of an idea. Now I'm getting on my own about this. What are they throw me? See, all them smiley faces in the back there for a reason.
Groovy. Groovy,
You know what? I'm done for today.
Groovy says, people act like dogs because of the New Testament.
You leave them people alone. They didn't do nothing to you. No.
Blaspheming, I'm gone. Yeah, buddy. I hear you, man. I mean, really terrible. Prohibition to sacrifice to any El except the Most High El. Shemot chapter 22. We're going to end we're going to end with this one.
End with this one. Okay, good.
No, I'm going to end with the next one. But this one here, anyone who sacrifices to any El other than Yahweh alone is to be completely destroyed. Why? In order to prevent idol worship. So I mean, anyone who sacrifices to any power other than Yahweh alone is to be completely destroyed. Now, we can't destroy anybody in our land, but it's the idea of even associating with people that do that.
Yeah. Agreed. Totally agreed. Easy. Well, agreed. Totally agreed.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute. What?
No,
I'm missing something?
No.
I got to turn around?
No.
I don't want to turn around.
Groovy says,
what?
I've never seen anyone act like a dog because of the Gospels. I didn't say that they acted like a dog because of the Gospels. We don't teach that. The point being is that dealing with this whole idea of bestiality is one that is germane to a moral act that the Most High has given to us to prevent Hebrew Israel from acting like the people of the Canaanites and the nations around us, which make us different.
Very good.
So,
very good.
Yeah. So now, you can't worship and you can't sacrifice to any El except the Most High.
Sure. Seems logical.
I don't want to reiterate every time I sit at the mic to teach to go back into Isaiah and enumerate all the times the Most High has stated who He is and how He's supposed to be, who's to be compared to Him, to allow us to understand that He is a set apart, opulent sole power of the universe, and He alone is to be worshiped. He opens with that in Shemot chapter number 20. You are not to have any power beside me. So you can't sacrifice to anyone else but Him. This is a mitzvot. Now, I want to end with this one here because of our dear brother from Australia, if he happens to still be with us. In Shemot chapter 22 and verse 20, it says, You must neither wrong nor oppress a foreigner living among you, for you yourselves were foreigners in the land of Mitzrayim. A foreigner or a ger is a person from the nation who converts and joins the Hebrew nation's way of faith. Vayikra chapter 19, verse 33, if a foreigner stays with you in the land, do not do him wrong. So with that in mind, we welcome people who want to walk in Torah and also walk in the way of the Most High and be what the Most High has asked us to be, because he's given us a mitzvot that requires us to be kind to those who are strangers. Well, I'm gonna stop there tonight.
Yeah, it's good talking about the mitzvos. This is what we like to do.
Yeah,
expound upon the mitzvos, and especially the ones that we can do while we're outside of the land, which is good. It's good. That's some good banter from the chat room, I guess, today. So,
well, I want to thank you, and to our visitor from Australia.
Don't be a stranger.
Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, come on back.
You are part of the Hebrew family, and the fact that you have been keeping his commandments for 4 years is commendable. And if you're doing it on your own and don't have a congregation to congregate with to bring further understanding of the mitzvot to you, you're certainly welcome to dial in to First Tabernacle Fellowship, Yahweh's Exile Empire, because that's primarily all we talk about are the mitzvot of the Most High. The main reason why I wrote the book Torah for Hebrews in Exile was because I came to an understanding that was what the Most High gave to the goat Moshe in Devarim chapter 4 to teach those. And I came to the realization that when I read Psalms 119, that's what our king was talking about. Then I realized that Torah was not the first 5 books of the Bible, but that Torah was inside the first 5 books of the Bible. And the Ashkenazi Jews wanted to put a number on them that there's 613, but that's not true, because I don't care what rabbi you talk to, his list of 613 is not going to acquiesce to another rabbi's, so they don't really know how many there are. And besides that, the Most High didn't put a number on them. He simply told us to obey them.
There you have it.
But you can't obey what you don't know. The king told us to meditate upon them, but you can't meditate upon something that you haven't heard. So it is our desire to bring to the forefront of every Hebrew that wants to be a Hebrew what Moshe taught to the Hebrew people of Israel, and that's his mitzvot, his teachings, and his rulings. This has been Rabbi Robert B. Holman Jr. and
the Junior Rabbi Sean Appleton, and this has
been Hebrews in Exile. Shalom.